As we all know, these are highly stressful times. And my goal today is to teach you how stress affects our minds and our bodies, and more importantly, what we can do about it, what we can do to change our mental health and to improve it. So this is what anxiety looked like pre-pandemic. We had some people at the low range. The majority of us were really at the moderate range, and some at the high range. And what happened? When COVID-19 hit, everyone shifted to the right, meaning that those who were in the low range were now in the moderate range. The moderate went to high, and the high went off the charts. So what can we do about this? I found that public speaking really gave me the avenue to speak to more people and to help more people and to teach strategies to improve mental health. And I realized that perhaps some, maybe even most, could avoid long-term mental health problems with the strategies that I teach. The stigma of mental health has really decreased, and it's really my hope that we can start treating mental health like we do physical health. That if we have a predisposition to a disorder, let's say you have a predisposition to heart disease, well, what would you do? You would go to the doctor, eat your fruits and vegetables, stay away from fatty foods. If you had a predisposition to anxiety, you should also be practicing mental health things such as meditation or exercise, or even going and talking to a qualified therapist. My name is Dr. Gretchen Moran Marsh, and I'm a clinical psychologist. I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan and a master's and a PhD from Wayne State University. I also did an internship at the Wayne State Medical School in the Department of Psychiatry. And from that, I opened a private practice, and then it naturally happened that I became a public speaker. People kept coming to me and saying, Gretchen, could you come and talk to my group about anxiety? Or could you come talk to us about burnout? And I really enjoyed reaching out to more people. So one thing that's really important is to talk to your child about their day. And that sometimes is not drilling them, who did you sit with? Did you do this? Did you do that? But listening to them, like how they felt during their day. And sometimes kids just want to talk. They don't want to problem solve. Sometimes they just want to feel validated by their parent. So anxiety manifests itself in 3 different ways. The first one being the physiological, and that's what we all know. That's the headache or the butterflies or the rapid heartbeat. Then there's the cognitive, and those are how you think. So it affects your ability to think logically. So our thoughts become irrational, emotion-focused. And then the key, the last component to anxiety, is the avoidance behavior. We want to avoid what makes us anxious. So mental health and mental health treatment really has a terrible stigma, and it has for a very long time. But because of the pandemic, I think more people became empathic with those people who were suffering, because they too started to feel some of the stressors. You know, people who had never felt anxiety or stress or depression before now were feeling it because they were isolated or they were simply stressed out. So one wonderful thing that came out of this is the decrease in stigma over getting mental health treatment. Unfortunately, there aren't that many mental health professionals to service the needs. So I found that through public speaking, I could reach so many more people. Let's talk about prevention. How do I prevent mental illness? And I always say to my clients, did you check yourself? Whenever you're feeling emotionally upset, start by checking yourself. And what that stands for is sleep, exercise, leisure, and food. Let's break each one of these down. So what can we do about this? In order to change how we feel, we must first understand that our feelings are related to how we think and how we behave. Here's an illustration of this. This is called the cognitive triad. It illustrates that each one of these domains are affected by the other ones. In other words, what we feel affects how we behave and how we think. What we think affects how we feel and how we behave, and how we behave affects how we think and how we feel. So this is great because this means that we have all these different domains to attack to improve our mental health. Let's talk tips and tricks. What are the things that I can do today to improve my mental health? Here's the first one. Focus on what you can control. We are living in a very out of control time in our lives, but you have things that you can control. I mentioned the self, the sleep, the exercise, the leisure, and the food. So focus on those things. Set up a daily schedule. The next one, focus on the road in front of you, not the mountain in the distance. Now, if we had looked back at February 2020 and knew that we would still be dealing with this pandemic over a year later, we would have felt overwhelmed. So one strategy to help to cope is to focus on the task at hand, or the road right in front of you. And that might just be getting through the work week. It also might be just getting through the day or the half day. I talked today about many different things that you can do to improve your mental health. I implore each of you to try one of those interventions today, whether it's decreasing your caffeine, going for a walk, practicing a meditation. What is one thing you can do today to improve your mental health, not only for today, but also for the future?